baby mammoths found in the permafrost. Michael Searle, ready, set, go. Look how excited he is.
This is Charles' story, right?
Well, I mean, it is, but you're definitely more excited. I think it's quite interesting. I honestly, and I'm not even kidding when I say this, yes, I'm all for resurrecting these animals. I know that colossal, I can't think of the full name of it, the colossal place up in, I think it's in Austin or Dallas. They're kind of close to restoring the dodo bird. They're working on the woolly mammoth. They're doing some stuff like that. So this is interesting, but I would really like if they would just take like a little sliver, just a sliver, and like somebody try it, like just someone just eat it and see what it tastes like. Why would you not?
Delicious.
Like, see, I mean, you can't eat the whole thing. Like, just take a little something and just try it, because I'm sure people eat elephant somewhere, and so why not try a little bit of it? But I do think this is really interesting. This like resurrection biology thing. The folks at Colossal say that they're doing this because they want to obviously restore these animals back to their natural habitat, and they think that it's a way to help climate change, I think. So.
Well, before Michael goes off, I just want to say, so this is, I mean, from Twitter account creepy.org, whatever. I'm not saying it's not real. I'm sure
you can find there are articles of it.
Yeah, I know it's not. But it says a whole baby woolly mammoth was found frozen in the permafrost of northwestern Canada, the first such discovery in North America. The mummified Ice Age mammoth is thought to be more than 30,000 years old. Now, why? And I'm going to pitch this up to Michael Searle. So, how did they find it? It was frozen in the permafrost. Is the permafrost melting? And Michael Searle, why are you such a big supporter? Why are you such a big believer in climate change?
Because, well, the answer to the second question is easy, because the climate's always been changing.
Oh,
so the answer to the first question is yes. As the permafrost recedes, they're finding remains of woolly mammoth and all sorts of crazy things, not just in North America, but in Russia and things like that. And my question, the thing that I'm more excited about this, other than cloning them, which is exciting, is how do they get frozen? They found woolly mammoth with undigested food in their bellies, frozen, solid. And there was this guy who did an analysis of how cold it would have to be to freeze a full-grown, multi-ton woolly mammoth before it digested the food in its stomach. It's like some ridiculous temperature. I would be speculating as to what it was, but it was like negative 400 or something. And this guy is like somebody who does industrial freezing of meat for shipping it all over the world.
Jeffrey
He's like,
Dahmer?
you would not him. So what was the climate circumstance that would lead to a full-grown mammoth or a baby mammoth freezing before its body degraded or it digested the food in its stomach? That's crazy.
The digestion of the food in the stomach is obviously it very much more of an open-ended question. How can that possibly be? That would have to be like a flash freeze, 400 degrees, like right away, everything's just frozen. But a baby mammoth, freezing, it looks like there's some degradation going on there, but for it to freeze, it dies in a blizzard and then it just stays cold. And, that's what that's what cold does. The way you put things in the freezers, it slows the degradation process, right? And so if it just gets stuck and then there's no air because it's under ice, right? So you have the combination of it also being not only being very cold, but there's also no air to further oxidize it. I'm a scientist. It kind of makes sense for the baby mammoth.
Yeah.
Well, I think they probably just died, and then when they died, they froze. Like they fell on the ground and froze, right? Like I think that's probably what happened. I mean, I don't know how they died. Maybe something in the air, and then they just like fell on the ground. But I think once they hit that ground and their body's like on the ice, they can freeze. And the winds at the north and the south, like when you get up there, are just so cold that like they're bringing in snow and ice and so fast, and they're bringing in snow and ice that I can imagine it would freeze it. One of the things I found interesting is reading the article about this woolly mammoth, and when they found it, it was a miner who was mining, and he like found it. And so they put it, and like they were in the Yukon, so I guess there's like no museum around. So they just like put it in a walk-in freezer, and we're like, let's just leave it here until we like, figure out what to do with it. It's so interesting.
Have you guys heard about the Alaskan boneyard guy?
Yes.
I'm aware of him.
So there's a lot of this mining. They're finding mass graves of mammoth, and there's interesting. So back during the Ice Age, there were two. I can't remember the names of those. The Laurentide ice sheet and another ice sheet on North America, and right where they merged, there was like this green passageway where the mammoth were, and that's where his property is. It's like right there between where the ice sheets used to be, because yes, blizzards and cold, but like if a mammoth is living, presumably it's living in circumstances where there's food for it to eat. So not just frozen ground, but there's got to be grasses and things like that for it to eat. So it's interesting that they're finding just mass graves of them, which suggests a mass killing of mammoths due to climate, some change in the climate during the end of the Ice Age, which is the part I'm interested in.
It's quite interesting, and I'm really curious to see Colossal bring some of these things back. I would love to see. I mean, I'm not really too excited about the dodo bird, but if they can do that, then that means that that unlocks a ton of doors about what they can do moving forward. And so I'm really excited to see them do that. And I believe they're working with the country of Mauritius now to. They've got
what?
Mauritius. Yeah,
I've never heard of the country.
Oh,
I think.
Well, they're working with the country to reintegrate the dodo there once they get it alive.
Well, yeah, I guess it'd be kind of cool to have a woolly mammoth in the San Antonio Zoo or something, right? I'd go see that. But
I mean, you'd have to wear a parka.
Why?
Because
in San Antonio,
it would have to be inside a cold facility.
Would it? You've never met one. How do you know?
Well, we know they lived in the North and South Pole. There are other mammoths that don't live in the cold, but woolly mammoths have the wool because,
Some say Michael Searle's a mammoth.
Bigfoot.
Never know.
He's a very big person.